Dark waves crash against the shore. A storm brews above an endless horizon. The camera zooms slowly into the map of the Atlantic Ocean, and a soft voice breaks the silence. There is a place on Earth where logic falters, where navigation fails, and where legends thrive. A place so feared that even the bravest sailors whisper its name with unease. Between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico lies a shadow that has haunted the seas for centuries. They call it the Bermuda Triangle. For most people, it is nothing more than a story told in books and television shows. But for those who sailed across it, or for the families who never saw their loved ones return, the Bermuda Triangle is not just a story. It is a wound in history, filled with unanswered questions. From warships disappearing without a trace, to squadrons of planes vanishing into thin air, the triangle has swallowed hundreds, maybe thousands of lives. What makes it more chilling is the silence it leaves behind. No distress calls, no wreckage, no survivors. Just an empty ocean and the echo of fear. But what if I told you the truth is even stranger than the myths? That behind every legend, there are records, documents, and eyewitness accounts, pieces of a puzzle that refuse to fit. And that some of these details, rarely told before, make the triangle even darker than we ever imagined. Tonight, we dive into the secrets of the Bermuda Triangle. We will retrace the paths of doomed ships like the USS Cyclops, examine the last words of Flight 19 before it vanished, and uncover newly discovered evidence lying beneath the sea floor. We'll question what science says and what science cannot explain. The mystery of the Bermuda Triangle didn't begin with Hollywood or with conspiracy books. It began with the very first voyages into the New World. In the year 1492, Christopher Columbus was crossing the Atlantic with his 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa, in his logbook. One entry stood out from the rest. His compass, steady for weeks, suddenly began to behave erratically. It pointed not to the north, but somewhere else entirely. Columbus and his men also claimed they saw strange lights flickering on the horizon, dancing flames above the water, like fire where no land existed. He never called it the Bermuda Triangle, but this was the first recorded hint that something was wrong with this stretch of sea. For the next 3 centuries, sailors told stories in whispers. Some claimed their ships were pushed off course by invisible currents. Others described dense fogs appearing from nowhere, wrapping around their vessels until they were lost. Fishermen from the Bahamas said the waters sometimes boiled under their boats, releasing bubbles that made them sink faster than they could escape. These tales were dismissed as superstition, but the disappearances were real. By the 19th century, newspapers were filled with stories of missing ships. In October 1840, the French vessel Rosalie was discovered drifting near the triangle. Her sails were intact, her cargo untouched, but not a single soul remained aboard. No signs of struggle, no blood, no explanation. It was as though her crew had simply vanished into thin air. Then came the case of the British schooner Ellen Austin. In 1881, the ship encountered another vessel drifting without a crew. The captain of the Ellen Austin placed some of his own men aboard to sail the derelict back to port. But days later, when they tried to find the vessel again, it had disappeared. When it finally reappeared, empty once more, every man the captain had sent was gone. Twice abandoned, twice stripped of life. To this day, no one knows what happened to the replacement crew. In the early 1900s, the mystery only deepened. More and more ships vanished, often without sending distress signals. And then came the single greatest loss of life in the Triangle's history, the USS Cyclops. In March 1918, almost 300 men gone without a trace, leaving families waiting at ports that would never see them again. We will return to that chilling case soon. By the time World War II arrived, the Bermuda Triangle had gained its dark reputation. Soldiers whispered of it, even as commanders refused to acknowledge it officially. But nothing could prepare the world for what happened in December 1945, when an entire squadron of planes vanished into thin air. Flight 19 became the story that etched the triangle into legend. This is the history the world knows, but there are parts rarely spoken of. Strange lights recorded centuries before electricity. compasses failing long before modern machines, and ships found intact but emptied of human presence. The Bermuda Triangle is not just a modern myth. Its shadow stretches back hundreds of years, long before we gave it a name. If the legends of the Bermuda Triangle are chilling, then its real cases are far more disturbing. These aren't sailors' tales or secondhand rumors. These are documented tragedies, with dates, names, and hundreds of witnesses, yet no explanations. The most infamous begins in March 1918 with the USS Cyclops, a massive U.S. Navy supply ship carrying over 10,000 tons of manganese ore and nearly 309 crew members, set sail from Barbados to Baltimore. It never arrived. No SOS, no debris, no oil slick. One of the largest vessels in the American fleet had simply evaporated. Even after a century, the U.S. Navy admits the Cyclops disappeared without a trace. What makes this chilling? Two of her sister ships, the Proteus and the Nereus, also vanished in the Triangle in the 1940s. Both carrying ore, both lost the same way. Coincidence or curse? But the story that truly burned the Bermuda Triangle into legend came on December 5, 1945, the disappearance of Flight 19. 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers set out on a routine training mission from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Weather was clear, fuel tanks full, pilots well-trained. Yet within hours, radio transmissions turned chaotic. Both my compasses are out. We can't tell where we are. The ocean doesn't look right. Those were the last words ever heard. The squadron vanished. No wreckage was ever found. Not even a scrap of metal. Stranger still, the rescue plane sent to find them carrying 13 men also vanished minutes after takeoff. In a single evening, 6 planes and 27 airmen disappeared without a single trace. The pattern continued. In 1948, a British passenger aircraft known as the Star Tiger vanished while approaching Bermuda with 31 people on board. No weather warnings, no distress calls, just silence. Less than a year later, in 1949, her sister plane, the Star Ariel, disappeared under nearly identical circumstances, with 20 people aboard. Both planes were part of the same airline, both lost without evidence. Then came the Marine Sulphur Queen, a 524-foot tanker ship carrying molten sulfur. In 1963, with 39 crew aboard, it vanished near the southern edge of the Bermuda Triangle. Not a body, not a fragment of the ship was recovered. The only clue, a chilling radio message days before disappearance. Everything is okay. By the 1960s and 70s, the disappearances became so frequent that insurance companies quietly increased rates for ships traveling through the region. Newspapers began calling it the graveyard of the Atlantic. Even into modern times, the disappearances continued. In 2003, a small passenger plane carrying business executives vanished en route to the Bahamas. In 2015, the cargo ship El Faro, with 33 people aboard, sank in the Triangle after losing power in a storm. Some wreckage was found, but many believe the conditions of its loss mirrored the old Triangle curse. What makes these vanishings so haunting is not only the loss of life, it's the silence. No wreckage, no mayday calls, no chance for families to say goodbye. Just emptiness where human lives should have been. So the question remains, how does a region of ocean erase ships larger than football fields and planes with dozens of passengers without leaving behind a single trace? For centuries, people have asked the same question. Why? Why does this one stretch of ocean devour ships and planes like no other? Some answers lie in science, while others drift far into the unknown. Magnetic anomalies. Sailors as far back as Columbus reported compasses going wild. Scientists believe parts of the triangle may sit on strange magnetic lines of Earth. In these dead zones, compasses stop pointing north, confusing navigators. Imagine being a pilot over endless water, and your instruments suddenly betray you. Is it science or something darker, bending the rules of physics? Methane gas eruptions. The seafloor of the Bermuda Triangle is rich in methane hydrates. If these frozen gases suddenly erupt, they can create massive bubbles, A ship floating above could lose buoyancy and sink within minutes, no time for an SOS. Some even argue planes flying low could have their engines stalled mid-air by pockets of gas, nature itself turning into a silent assassin. Rogue waves. Modern satellite studies have confirmed rogue waves, walls of water up to 100 feet high, striking without warning. In the triangle, storms and currents collide to make these monsters more frequent. One wave like this could snap a tanker in half or swallow a plane flying close to the ocean surface. Quick, violent, and merciless. Human error and weather. Some skeptics say the triangle is no more dangerous than any other ocean. They point to human error, sudden squalls, and hurricanes. After all, this is one of the busiest shipping and flight corridors in the world. More traffic means more accidents. But if that's all it is, why are so many disappearances so eerily identical? Paranormal theories, of course. Science doesn't satisfy everyone. Some whisper about alien abductions, claiming the triangle is a hunting ground for UFOs. Others believe it's a time warp, a tear in space where ships and planes slip into another dimension. Legends even speak of the lost city of Atlantis, buried beneath the sea, its ancient energy still interfering with our machines. Outlandish, maybe. But then again, how do you explain entire squadrons of planes vanishing into clear skies? In the end, no single theory answers every disappearance. Some are scientific, some supernatural, and some just impossible to categorize. The Bermuda Triangle stands at the crossroads of fact and myth. It is the reminder that even in the age of satellites and GPS, there are still places on Earth that refuse to give up their secrets. And now the question falls to you. Do you believe the Bermuda Triangle is just dangerous waters and human mistakes? Or is it something far stranger? Drop your thoughts below, because one day, you might have to cross those waters yourself. For years, the Bermuda Triangle was brushed off as legend. But in the last few decades, scientists and explorers have returned to its waters with satellites, sonar, and deep-sea drones, hoping to uncover the truth. In 2015, oceanographers revealed massive underwater craters off the coast of Norway, proof that methane gas explosions could indeed sink ships instantly. Later studies suggested similar structures may exist beneath the Bermuda Triangle. If true, these eruptions might explain some vanishings, but not the planes lost in clear skies. Then came a chilling discovery in 2017. Researchers from the Arctic University of Norway spotted strange hexagonal cloud formations over the triangle using NASA satellites. These clouds, nearly 20 to 50 miles wide, can create air bombs, microbursts of wind exceeding 170 miles per hour. Such blasts could capsize ships or tear planes apart mid-air. For the first time, weather science hinted at a deadly, invisible hand behind the disappearances. Even sonar surveys have revealed unusual terrain beneath the waves. Deep trenches, volcanic ridges, and fault lines twist the seafloor. Some scientists claim these create unpredictable currents, while others whisper they look like ruins, possibly the remains of something ancient, perhaps even the fabled Atlantis. No proof, but the idea refuses to die, and yet, the triangle continues to strike. In 2017, a twin-engine plane vanished with 4 people, including a CEO and her family, mid-flight from Puerto Rico to Florida. The wreckage was never found. As recently as 2020, a small single-engine plane disappeared after takeoff from Andros Island, Bahamas again. No debris, no signals. Even with modern GPS and satellite tracking, the triangle still swallows without mercy. Despite decades of research, no theory fully explains why so many vessels vanish here. Some cases may be storms, others, human error. But when entire squadrons vanish without a trace, when ships are found ghost-like with no crew, when planes vanish under perfect skies, science goes silent. The Bermuda Triangle is not just history, it is happening now, a mystery still unfolding in our time. So tell me this. Do you think we will ever solve the riddle of the Bermuda Triangle? Or are some secrets meant to remain hidden forever? Share your thoughts, because your theory might just be the one we've been waiting for.